Hi everyone, I'm Izzy, and today I'm joined by Maniac. Maniac, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Now, you are one of the few younger players we have in amateur. When did you start playing League?
I first got into League in season five, and I was just kind of just like playing normals with my friends and stuff. I was like 10 at the time or 11. Yeah, I kind of played norms up until I think season 11 is when I kind of started playing like ranked.
Yeah. And is that also when you started like doing competitive and amateur and stuff?
Yeah, I started playing amateur last year. It kind of all just started randomly, like miraculously. Like I just got into a wild card tryout and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I'm a pretty competitive person, so I was interested and yeah.
Yeah. And did you get scouted out for that, or did you kind of see that opportunity and ask to be
Um
involved?
well, I think at first I was in the there was a Maryville tryout. And then after I heard like, oh, there's actually a tryout for this team called Wildcard, and I'm like, okay, I'll join it, see how it is, and yeah, it's pretty much how it started.
Yeah. And what made you decide to make that jump from just solo queue to competitive?
Um, I think it was like just more of my competitive nature. I'm a really competitive person. I played a lot of sports as a kid. I played hockey for like 10 years. And I've always like, everyone's always been interested when they're playing league, like, oh, like going pro, blah, 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 all
Yeah.
this. So I saw amateur and I'm like, oh, yeah, this looks pretty fun.
Did you guys have any kind of high school esports growing up?
Not at all. I live like very, very far west coast. Like I live in a ski town. I don't know if you can see, but there's like snow on the trees
Oh
and
gosh,
stuff.
already?
Um, yeah, I know it's crazy. So no, it was more like traditional sports. Like obviously in Canada, especially west coast, hockey is huge.
Yeah.
It's like hockey, skiing, but yeah, no esports. I don't think anywhere close to me. Yeah.
And what has been the reception from like your family to going into like an untraditional sport?
Yeah. My parents at first, like when I told them like, oh, I'm like playing amateur, I'm like making like money and like I'm like pretty good, like hit like top like 500, 400 and stuff. They were like, oh, okay. I mean, it's your dreams. As long as you were like doing good in school, which I was this year, they were like fine with it. But obviously, my dad was kind of like, oh, but you're like good at hockey, so why don't you play hockey? So it was a bit iffy, but
Dad
yeah,
things.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, what was something that you were able to learn competing in amateur that you weren't able to learn just through solo queue?
Ooh, it's a lot. I think just like the actual game and how you should play as a jungler, because like solo queue jungle versus comp is a very, very big difference. Like actually like playing with your agency, playing through lanes, all this stuff. In solo queue it's not quite the same because obviously you don't have like five people in comms, you can't really micromanage people as
Yeah.
much. I guess I learned that jungle's really like the role. It's like you're that guy. You're shot
Yeah.
calling. You're pulling everyone around everywhere. Like they're playing for you to play through them, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, what were some of those like specific little in-game skills that you were able to work on through being in competitive and through solo queue?
Um, well, through solo queue, even I guess since I've just been like playing for so long, I'm a really mechanical player. Which is like for jungle, it's like doesn't really matter that much, but it does help me have like a step up on a lot of people. But it was mostly like the macro game, like actually like thinking about wave states. What can I do on this wave state? Like tracking enemy jungle. Can I make this play or not? That's like the main things I learned and was taught through amateur. And right now I'm like still like going through it, still like trying to learn like as much information as I can. And I think the hardest part will probably be just applying it, remembering everything, and yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna follow up and ask like, what are you still working on this year? What do you think is like your biggest barrier between you and your goals?
The biggest like barrier, the biggest thing holding me from being like that player is probably just my macro game. It's not the best, I can admit, but it has definitely improved like a lot, and I can feel myself like actually improving the more and more I play. Since I wasn't allowed to play a lot this year, so now that I was in summer, I definitely have improved a ton, and that's what I'm excited for tryouts is to actually like show and gauge to see if I've like made it to that like next step, that next like echelon of like players that are better than me.
Yeah. So as like a recent high school graduate, you know, is what you're really looking to get out of amateur is working on that like macro experience? Like, what are you specifically looking for in a team or a coach?
Um, in a coach, mostly I just like it would be nice to have someone that I can just like VOD review like every single game with, like see what I need to do here, see what I can't. And so far right now in amateur, macro is definitely like the one thing I want to gain out of it because just through tryouts and everything, that's normally when I improve the most. And like playing against like so many other players that are like around my skill better, blah blah blah. Just like seeing how they play the game versus how I like think the game should be played and improving off of that, whether it be through improving my skills or trying to play a different style and learning something else. That's kind of what I want to do right now because I was kind of stuck in like a very full clear, very play for myself mentality because of solo queue. But in comp, I think it's very different, especially for this upcoming year. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and have you been in any tryouts so far this year yet?
I have not yet. I all of the LCS or like quite a few of the LCS amateur tryouts have already gone by. Which yeah, I didn't think I was like quite on that level to play in those. But there are some amateur org tryouts coming up that I will be in, which I'm really excited for.
So you've played in on a few different teams as a substitute, as one of maybe the less glamorous roles in competitive. How are you able to add value to your team from that position?
I think it was to my team. It was mostly through just I was kind of like I could like bounce ideas off of the main jungler pretty much. And the main jungler for Team Fish Taco that I was on, his name's Limo, and he happens to be like my best friend. Like we're pretty much like brothers. So anytime he would like think of an idea, want to pick this champ, something like that, either whether it be in like draft in the game, anything, I just ask him and make sure like, oh, do you think this isn't better? Do you think this is worse? Blah blah blah. What do you think about this? And mostly get his like critical thinking going in his head. And I think that's really valuable if you have someone on the outside looking at you and questioning all of your decisions, because then you're not just autopiloting, you're actually thinking like, oh, is this actually good? Am I actually right about this? And that's like the main thing I contributed. Other than just like playing scrims and stuff. When he was like not feeling it or like tilted or like not there, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's almost like a very like important thing like positionally because a coach has the whole team, but like you two are very tuned into the jungle.
Yeah.
So there's like good dialogue there.
Mm.
Looking more towards your personal goals, kind of outside the team this year, what are you hoping out of like solo queue? I know you didn't quite get to play in Champions Queue last year. Stream on Twitch. What are some of your more personal goals?
My personal goals for right now is I want to, well, this is kind of like my like set up my plans for the future. Uh, Play my tryouts, get challenger in preseason, which kind of doesn't really count, but it'll be nice. Hit challenger in preseason, then play one of the upcoming open qualifiers in January, and try and maintain and hit like high GM challenger in early season because I think that's really valuable. And if you're like up there in early season, you'll definitely improve a lot more than like in the middle to like late season. And that's mostly for solo queue. I think obviously once you like hit challenger, it's like okay, you'll have that like star next to your name, like oh he hit like 5 games off challenger, but he's not actually challenger, right? So when I actually do it and like show people like yeah, it's easy for me, then it's like okay, maybe this guy is like actually like on the come up. Maybe he can be something. And then through amateur, I would hope to be top 16 and get into champs queue. And then once I feel that I've improved to the point that I can like actually play without just like straight up running it down, then playing champs queue obviously would be really insane for scouting improvement and all of that.
Absolutely. I know that you posted on Twitter that you went to the Atlanta semifinals for Worlds. How was that experience?
That was incredible. That was easily one of the best like 4 or 5 days of my life. That was yeah, like actually being like there in that arena and having like how many like tens of thousands of people around me all like cheering for like the 10 people on stage and all of that, it really like puts it into perspective. Like, wow, this is real. It would be insane, amazing to go pro, and it just made me like, it kind of like made me have like a wake up call,
Yeah.
more or less, because it's like I'm young now. I can just like do nothing else with my life except play League and grind while I'm taking my gap year, and then okay, if it doesn't work out, I did it. But then if it does, I just grinded harder than anyone else, and that's why I make it. So that's what I'm trying to do this year and maybe the year after.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you also saw some of the talent members at Worlds. Was that exciting? I know you were like right to the side of Emily and Raz on the
Yeah.
desk.
Oh,
Was that
that was
exciting?
yeah, that was pretty awesome. Getting to like talk to Cajal and stuff and talk to Dash was pretty cool. I was there with Toasty Alex, who's a 16-year-old like peak rank 15 mid laner, and he actually played the with and against Cajal in Champs
Really?
Queue.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
yeah, we were talking to Cajal about that, and then snapped a selfie with him. It was a bit scuffed because he was
Yeah.
like pretty far down, but that was nice. And then yeah, all of those people like Dash, Cajal, like all of them are like insanely nice. Like I was pretty surprised that they just let us take those pictures, have conversations with them, and
Yeah.
yeah.
World Finals tonight. That's when we're recording this. What are your predictions?
My predictions. This is gonna be bit of a dark horse, but I'm saying 3-2 DRX. And I would like both teams. I would love if both teams would win. But the main reason, like the one like pushing me over, that it's gonna be 3-2 DRX, is that Piosik said that if he wins, it's gonna be a DRX Kindred skin. And God, do I want a DRX Kindred skin? So yeah, my
Yeah.
Piosik's my man. So I'm saying 3-2 DRX.
Yeah. I'm hoping for 5 games tonight, but
Yes, yes.
Cubby tweeted, he's like, my like realistic prediction is T1 3-0. And I was
Mhm.
just like, just because you said that, I think it's DRX 3-0.
Yeah. I don't think
So
it's gonna. If it's 3-0, that would actually be crazy because
it would
both
be.
both T1 and DRX are playing like the best league in the world.
Yeah.
So with them matching up against each other, it's definitely going to be crazy. It's going to be good, especially the mid matchup. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And I know both teams, both ADCs have played Varus, and that's the skin I'm hoping for. I would
Yeah,
like a World's Varus skin.
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and before I let you go, you are a young kid and you've only been in the scene for a couple years. What is one thing that you wish coaches, scouters, or just orgs in general would know?
Oof. Damn, that's a good question. Wait, I might need to think about that one
That's okay.
after
You
you
can
ask
take
the
your
question.
time.
Damn. Hmm. Damn, that's a good one. Um, I think that every coach, every scout, one thing they should know about me is that I am more competitive than every other jungler that is trying to go pro right now. And I will grind harder, I will play better, and I will help everyone around me improve more than everyone else will in the upcoming years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to see you do that this year, hopefully. I'm excited to see who picks you up. Best of luck.
Thank you.